Welcome everyone. Today is July 8th. I'm going to start today's meeting. It's 10:02 a.m. I love seeing everyone come back together again, and we're all adjusting and adapting to the new normal, working from home, staying safer at home, and to me, it's really cool to be able to do something like this now, and I'm going to be doing this regularly. So I think you are going to have a very valuable content, and if you stay to the end, I can promise you that I'll give you information that's worth more than $10,000 to $11,000. It will talk about stimulus. It will talk about the PPP versus PUA. I'm going to talk about market update. I'm going to talk about the reopening of Dynasty offices. Yeah, right? So I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff in today's. I expect a longer meeting than normal, but we're going to continue to do this on a weekly basis. I want to be here in front of you a little bit more often now that I've heard a lot of more businesses are reopening. So with that, I want to start and share and thank everyone for being here on time. We've got over 24 people in the meeting. And I haven't seen a lot of you for quite some time. So
Aaron, we cannot hear you. You mute your line.
okay, so I got unmuted, sorry. So I was saying happy Father's Day. I enjoyed my first Father's Day a couple weeks ago with my baby Brady, and happy Mother's Day because I haven't seen some of you. Even happy Juneteenth. You know, I never knew, which is a holiday that I honestly did not know. But it's great to be here in front of you again. I'm going to be covering a bunch of material, so we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to do what's called screen share. Make sure you guys all know, and if you have questions, feel free to type it in the chat box. And if you have any information or you want me to call on you, ask a question, there is a button that you can raise your hand, or you just go ahead and just unmute yourself and ask the question, okay? I have both Arcadia and Temple City office agents that are here. We're gonna be doing a joint sales meeting. From the near future, I'm gonna take it month by month, and I might be able to adjust. And that's the way it goes in this new COVID period. If things change, if the rising cases increase, or if there's a bunch of new news, I might have to adjust on the fly. And so thank you all for being cooperative. So now let me go ahead and try to start the share screen option.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, you guys. And I'm gonna bring our PowerPoints up.
What are you doing?
Do you guys see the
Doing
PowerPoints?
It's today, right?
Yeah.
I was like, there's no one here. Like, Armando is not here.
So
Well,
can you guys see the
there's
sales
Zoom.
meeting
Is
slide?
it? Where's he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So great.
Hmm?
So I can be
No.
able to talk
Well,
about
if-
our grand reopening. Welcome back, everyone. It's important that since I'm all
He's in
trying
the-
to reopen and
No,
get
he's in the
busier,
back.
and honestly, this is the peak
Oh.
season. I want you guys to understand that it's still important to keep social distancing, wearing your face mask, and doing everything you can to prevent further spread of the virus. Honestly, I'm just going to tell you that in California, specifically in our region and in LA, it is still very dangerous out there. I started warning all you guys about COVID in January and February when me and my wife flew to Taiwan, and I'm going to talk to you about a little bit about what's going on about COVID, and there's all this discussion about a second wave. Just on a serious note, there are tons of confirmed cases. Honestly, there's 130,000 deaths, 3 million total cases in the US, and California is one of the leading states with the most cases. My wife and I have been following this. I've been reading some news, and honestly, it's not a second wave that's going on. We are still on our first wave. We never really had quite flattened the curve. We haven't had less than 10% of the population not affected. So it's still very alarming. So don't go to parties or social events or keep that distancing, because it's gonna be something that honestly might continue to 2021, which is scary. So that is why we, as in our own businesses, need to be able to adapt. We need to be able to understand have the right technology to do electronic meetings and learn how to meet and meet our clients electronically. You can actually do signatures over video and explanations of disclosures. So you could technically transact without being face-to-face with your client. I want, I mean, just to raise, just out of any curiosity, has anyone been affected by COVID, or has anyone know anyone who's been affected by COVID? I've heard that it is rising in certain neighborhoods, in certain areas. It's very regional. There's people who go to a bar and everyone in the bar gets it. There's cases in Florida where everyone went to a pool party, or Texas, they went to a pool party and everyone got it there. And there was even a sad case about a family who had a wedding, and like 70% of the family got affected. So I really just encourage you to do everything you can, even though we're reopening. I have to count on all of you to be very, very doing all the precautions, wearing your mask at least, and respecting one another inside the office. I'm going to talk to you about our broker company prevention plan near the end of the meeting. It's a mandatory training that companies need to provide for all staff and agents. And so I hope you can look forward to that. And we're going to cover that near the end. So you can see California, Texas, you have even states right here like New Mexico and Florida and the whole region. Those are very, very high population, high risky areas. And so we are in a very, very risky area. And I tell you, we talked about neighborhoods, and we talk about where it's likely to pop up. And it's honestly popping up in areas that have higher density or higher people in closer quarters. For example, in a condominium complex or an apartment building where they might be sharing the same circulation. So it's just very, very concerning. So what we did at the company a couple months ago, through the help of JL and her husband, they sell some premium face mask and all these other cool gear that I've emailed to you in the past. So I went ahead and made a company order for a bunch of masks. And I'd like to offer you, everyone, Dynasty agents, we're giving out one free face mask until my supplies last. I just need to come pick it up from my office. I might deliver a few into Arcadia next week. But this is a triple filter mask. You can hand wash this up to 20 times according to the label. It looked great, looked professional. And honestly, you might get some business from wearing this mask. I've had a lot of people when I've worn it out in public, oh, that's a really cool mask. How'd you get your logo on there? And you start chatting up a storm. I've had people ask, oh, you're in real estate. How's the market going? Because everyone loves to talk about real estate. So I encourage you to get your mask, pick one up. You could, if you want an additional mask for your family or you want it for a client gift or whatnot, go ahead, and it's only gonna be $5 additional masks. And let me know if you need some, or text me if you want to come pick it up at our staff, at our office. All right. So I just had one slide I have to remind you, because I feel it's important that I don't want you guys to get penalized, that the 2019 federal and state income taxes are due. Is July 15th. I hope many of you have already filed your taxes, but if you're like me, I just finished mine like 2 weeks ago and made my payments. But if you still haven't done it, you still have another week to get and report your income taxes. And don't forget, you also should be paying your estimated taxes as well, since we're all self-employed and we get the benefit to estimates and whatnot. So it comes to a question where I wanted to preach and talk about being part-time versus full-time. And I know a lot of us have slowed down, or we've been a little bit cautious, so we have not taken as many meetings or done as much prospecting over the phone. But I want to encourage you and tell you that if you're really going to be doing and succeeding really well in this business, it is important to discipline yourself and make a choice between part-time and full-time, because it is a choice that has really, really different kind of outcomes. If you're really going to invest in yourself and be full-time, there are a lot of things that you need to be doing, staying up to date, joining me on these weekly trainings that I'm going to be starting to talk about, and really improving your skill sets, whether it's your skill sets from how you speak and talk, whether it's your technology and your tools. I mean, there's still agents out there. Like yesterday, I was teaching someone how to do an e-sign, which you all need to be very, very familiar with. And you need to be staying up to date with the new COVID forms. I'm going to do my best to be producing as much content that is actually going to be efficient and useful to you, so you understand the tools that we have available. And you need to get yourself out there online and social media, putting out more advertisements, or consider putting yourself more online, because that's where the future of a lot of people who are staying at home. They're all on their cell phones and their iPads, just looking at shopping online on Amazon or ordering things. There are a lot of people who are conducting a lot of business online. So I would encourage you to learn and educate yourself, because honestly, you're going to be investing in your own future. If you're going part-time, that's totally fine too. But it's a choice. Okay, you choose when you want to work, and that's the great thing about our business. There's not one that's better than the other. Everyone has their own circumstances and their own children and families to take care of. So I understand if we were making different life choices. But we're at a crossroads right now where this business is going to change quite tremendously in the near future. I anticipate a lot more of real estate leads and prospecting could be generated much easier, efficiently, and better through online. So we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. I'll have classes on that. I did want to welcome a couple of new agents that joined us. Yes, I've still been working in the office and doing a little bit of recruiting. For this gentleman over here, he's a friend of Peter's son. Jonathan Go came introduced and referred to us, so I'm very excited to bring Jonathan Go. He works in the Orange County area, has a license for quite some years, and has a great mindset. He already has a coming listing in probably next week or 2 weeks. He'll be having a listing coming soon. So excited if you see him or see him in the trainings, welcome him in. And we also got another new agent, Shermona Clark. I think she's here in the sales meeting. Welcome, Shermona. She comes to us from Keller Williams and definitely has a great mindset. Talk to her in detail. She's got her MBA from Concordia University, and she's awesome. She's amazing. She has a great attitude, and I just love her ethic, business work set. So welcome, Shermona, to the company. And I want, in terms of what we're going to be doing, I'd like to share with you that training is going to continue on a weekly basis. I want to be here and supportive and educating you as much as I can. And I think that the best way from this standpoint is to continue doing this electronically through Zoom. I can share my screen, I can answer your questions, and honestly, you guys can work from your pajamas. It's just cool. So every Tuesday, I'm going to continue my Kelvin's Keys to Success. I'm going to be preparing for these meetings and teaching all of you guys very, very important and useful and relevant skills that'll be helpful for your development. And I'm going to be covering and doing a sales meeting every Wednesday, 10 a.m., just like this. So you can see that we're using the same link to register for every subsequent Wednesday at 10 a.m. So it's easy for you to jump right in and join our meetings, register, and just know and plug into your calendar to make sure you reserve this time. And I purposely did not invite the affiliates this week because I know it's going to be a longer meeting and I have a lot to share. But I'll invite the affiliates in future meetings. Okay, guys? If you have questions and answers, questions that are in your business, feel free to write them down and ask them during the education sessions or during the sales meeting, because we all are experiencing very similar issues, whether it's landlord complaints that their tenants are not paying rent, whether it's tenants that are not cooperative with you trying to show a property, or whether you're having contract issues, contingency issues, or what I've seen recently a lot is mortgage issues as well. There's a lot of delays going on. And so I'm telling you, there are things that we could be doing better. And I have a special section at the middle of this meeting talking about that. So if you have questions, feel free to save them and ask them in the group. I think it's a great way for us to learn together in this, and I can facilitate and learn, and we can all learn from each other. So if you want to learn and improve your skill sets that I talked about, Coldwell Banker still has their CB University going on with virtual live classes or recorded classes. You choose which class you want to attend. They're on a regular basis, and I want to encourage you to go there, especially if you are less than 1 year in the business and you haven't done some AMP training or lead generation training, farming, working with buyers. Attend these sessions. They're really, they have been revamped last year. So I can tell you it's very useful to understand what are all the great Coldwell Banker tools that comes with our affiliation. So that's a great section. It's in your CB Exchange login. And if you don't have your login, you can always reset it or ask the staff, Amy, JL, or Canis, to help you reset your login to CB Exchange. This is going to be a section where I'm going to give you my market update. And I've been following the news recently. I've been looking at sales activity. And ever since COVID started in March, the shutdown caused major concerns. For one, a lot of buyers and sellers got scared. And immediately there was a ton of cancellations, not only in my company, but all the other broker manager meetings that I've been attending. There were a ton of cancellations due to fear, due to uncertainty, and also some are loan related, where a lot of people were furloughed, they were lost their hours, or they just lost their job, and plain and simple. It sucked. So there were verification of employment issues that we had to overcome. There were a lot of people who were furloughed and not certain when they could restart. And so the lenders had trouble qualifying people, getting their loan approved. And I'd say, 30 to 50% of escrows that were active at that time did have a cancellation, or there was a buyer requesting, major reduction in price and whatnot. And so when I looked at the market update in March and April, the activity was definitely quite slow across the offices. However, May and June, I looked at the numbers and your numbers as well, and business picked up quite tremendously. What we are looking at is in a very little question now, whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market. But before we get into that part, I want to say that when we have transactions going on in May and June, and now we're seeing in July, it really has to do with what's called is the supply of inventory. Plain and simple. In California, we already had a shortage of inventory even last year, where we had 200,000 units under what's technically required for California in terms of what's recommended. So with the short supply of listings even last year, and then further you couple that with all the listings that were taken off the market because tenants weren't cooperating, or sellers were afraid of people touching the interior of their home, or they're still living there and don't want people coming into the house because they wouldn't want to get exposed to COVID. There was a lot of limited inventory. And that is probably why, if you followed the market and you had a listing, you got activity, you got showings, you got multiple offers, and you probably had quite a lot of questions and that calls over online, because many other realtors and offices were not open. So they weren't able to show properties, and they weren't able to answer phone calls at company level. So a lot of buyers were going to Zillow, they were going to online leads and just trying to find any agent to help them. And I think that's going to continue too, because not all brokerages are still open yet. And when we ask the question whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market, I want to ask you, raise your hand if you think we're in a buyer's market. Raise your hand if you think we're in a seller's market. Okay. I don't have all the views in my thing, but I can tell you it's mixed. But probably a majority of us think it's a buyer's market, and I can tell you it's a mixed market. And what do I mean by that? It's a mixed market because the sellers still have what's called lack of inventory to compete against. And when we talk about what kind of supply we have right now, it's very limited. I'm looking at the same listings that are staying on the market. I'm looking at maybe just 1 or 2 new listings that are popping up every single day. And that is compared to last year or the years past, much less than what we're supposed to be experiencing right now, which is the summer peak season. So because of the lack of competition, sellers are getting a lot more showings, a lot more interest, maybe a lot more different offers on the properties. But it is a buyer's market in certain areas too. And it's a buyer's market in the higher end homes. It's a buyer's market for those with cash. It's a buyer's market when you have the ability and you still have your job and you have your income. There's quite a lot of competition that is exiting the market because they don't have that certainty of their monthly income. So they're still on furlough. There's a lot of travel and leisure hospitality businesses that are indefinite leave of absence. And the reports that I'm reading, there is a significant amount of job loss that are jobs that won't be coming back forever. So because of that uncertainty and the risks and the lenders who are being very, very precautious in how they qualify the applicants, it's a little bit tougher to get your loan approved now. They're looking and doing a lot more document check. So it's both. It's a seller's market in values of homes that are under, what I call starter homes, or homes under $750,000, because we're in a high priced region. If you got anything under 750, you're going to get the activity. If you price it right, you're going to get tons of calls. Or if you price it right under the market, right under the market value. And I think a lot of you who had that listings, you got the activity, you put it into escrow quickly, and there's a lot of agents that are double ending deals now. It's a buyer's market and I'm going to tell you to reach out to your clients. This market update is for you to give you what's called the language, the tools for you to go out and talk to your clients and give them a great consultation. So that's why I'm going to record this, and you can continue to talk about what I call talking points. And these talking points are going to equip you with a great amount of tools to tell the client whether it's a buyer or seller's market and convince them, persuade them in your own way. But it's a buyer's market and a great market for those looking to upsize, those looking for families that are looking for a better neighborhood, in moving to a location that's closer to their work, for convenience, larger homes, better school districts. Basically, if you're upsizing or upscaling, this is a perfect market for that. Because one, the seller will be able to sell their starter home at a premium with a lot of competition, multiple offers, and then they're going to be able to buy in the high-end homes and face very little competition that can get that kind of qualifications and loans. This is a perfect time to talk about growing families. Maybe families want to live together or buy something like where they live near the same property and have a guest house and the main house in the same lot. This is the great time where there's opportunities. So I talk about peak sales activity, and this is usually the normal summer season where we have a lot of engagement with our clients, a lot of showings going on, and it's the best time to get your listing out there because people want to move before the next school year. And my assumption, they are going to reopen schools and whatnot, but there's still going to be a lot of electronic learning. There's going to be still a lot of families working from home, or children having not much daycare or options available. So I'm going to tell you that we're still going to have to adapt and accommodate the needs of our clients. But I can see that when I was following the market, especially here in the San Gabriel Valley region, there has been a lot of short supply in months past, but I talked to you already. Recently, I've seen a lot more listings coming out. Don't you guys agree? As compared right now in July versus June and May and April, the listings that they pulled off the market in the past, now they're going to be starting to trickle back into the market, into our supply of inventory for us to go and sell. So I do see that trend continuing. I think there's going to be quite a bit more activity And I'm going to talk to you about that very soon. I don't know if you guys experience this, but I've had a lot more interest, a lot more questions, a lot more, hey, Kelvin, hey, is it a good time to buy now? And buyer demand has increased tremendously, okay? There's quite a bit of people looking to do that, upsize in their home, move to a better neighborhood. And there's also a lot of people who are still employed who are looking to take advantage of today's all-time historic low interest rates. This past week, we just experienced the lowest interest rates we've ever had. Many customers and clients and lenders were been sharing the great news and talking about, well, a lot of well-qualified buyers are getting less than 3% loans for their 30-year conforming conventional loan. So 30 years, 3% or less, that is amazing, okay? So I've been talking to lenders, I've been talking to refinance people as well, and this is a perfect time to refinance, cash out, and make cash available for opportunities. And I'm going to talk to you about opportunities in the next slide. So because of the low interest rates, that truly does have allow the buyer a lot more buying power. And I want to have a little discussion about what is buying power. Well, buying power is essentially being able to get more bang for your buck. If you had a client that was able to afford a $700,000 home last year, they're probably going to be able to get additional financing because last year's rates were around 4%. At 3%, they can probably qualify or get maybe up to maybe $750,000 buying power. So that's an additional increase in what they can buy, even though the market hasn't changed too much. I can tell you, and the pricing hasn't changed too much. The discussion on buying power, right, is, to me, that's what's really piquing a lot of this interest, is the buyers out there are able to afford more and borrow more. And to me, if you're able to cash out, refinance, I encourage you to inquire and ask your favorite lender, because they are definitely busy. The lending business is booming because so many people are trying to refinance and try to cash out, and they're not sure, how long they're going to be unemployed. So there's a lot of this going on. It's been very tough for those who have low FICO scores, who have low down payment, or who are considered to be subprime loans. These are the tougher loans with less full docs. They are maybe a lot of people who are foreigners, FHA clients, people who need down payment assistance. It's tougher in that sector of the in the industry, because not only are you competing against multiple offers, but you have to convince a seller to accept your offer, and most people are doing it by price. But then what's going on is they're offering the highest price, but they're not getting the appraisal, or they don't have the down payment to make up for the gap that there is. So I do know there are lenders that are still doing subprime loans now. So there are options available. There are areas we can put them to. And to me, it's very important in who you select as your lender. Okay, I think that's the main issue I've been experiencing this past 3 months when agents are having questions, is they don't have a great relationship with their lender, and the clients are asked to remove the contingencies, and their loan is not ready. They have too many conditions to meet, or everything is delayed because of scheduling delays due to tenants and not cooperative tenants. So I'm going to encourage you at this kind of peak of time, we need to be writing our offers better. And I'm going to talk about that soon. Number 9, I'm going to talk to you about the price appreciation that may be happening. And as we speak, we're seeing a lot of inflation that's kind of, to me as an economist, I feel that price appreciation is happening. So there's a couple of factors to consider, and I'm not, the smartest guy in the world, or I don't follow, like Lawrence Yun, who's a chief economist at NAR, but price appreciation is happening because of what the government is doing in terms of printing money. And as you know, we just passed the CARES Act, we passed the stimulus packages. There's multiple levels of stimulus that the government is doing for individuals, for families, for low-income people, and for high earners and for corporations. So basically, the government has been, and the Fed has been printing trillions of dollars of debt, sending people unemployment benefits, and sending a lot of people PPP loans. And I'm telling you that they even invested a ton of money, the government even purchased into stocks and bonds. So with all this government spending, with limitless and infinite amount of dollars, I do feel that inflation and price appreciation will start to trickle effect and happen. What does that mean? $1 today is worth less than $1 tomorrow. Okay, so you can go. There's a lot of other people that explain it much better than I, but you might see some inflation, and that could be what's supporting the stock market currently. That could be what's supporting today's home values that have fallen a little bit, but not tremendously, considering the amount of unemployment and lack of income going on. And the U.S. dollar, I think it has weakened a lot in the global markets as well. And I do hear that there is more stimulus coming. And so item 11, there's a second wave of stimulus checks that should be coming in the fall. And that's an additional $1,200. And for those of you who do file taxes, every one of you should have already received your up to $1,200 stimulus check in your bank account or in the mail, signed by Donald Trump. So if you haven't got your stimulus check, you should probably find out what's going on and go to the IRS easy tax portal and provide your bank account information so they can get it sent to you. If you haven't gotten it, you will get it still. Okay, they're not going to take it away from you. I don't know if you're following the major stock market and the companies out there, but if you follow the news, there are many major companies that are filing bankruptcy. So I'm not going to talk about all of the companies, but we know that these companies are suffering. They're not coming back. You have so much retail in sector which is suffering because no one's shopping anymore. No one's going into the stores and putting themselves at risk just to go shopping at the malls. So a lot of these retail shopping malls and areas that have that have a lot of these what's that word I'm looking for? Retail stores like JCPenney and even Macy's is having issues. A lot of these department stores and even like I heard 24-hour fitness is having issues. A lot of these bankruptcies are going to happen and occur in the near future, and they're going to go default on their mortgage or their loans or on their landlords, and you're going to have a ripple effect in the retail commercial sector of a lot of vacancies going on. And I would anticipate that brick and mortar retail sector, these rents are going to probably fall in the near future. So that's something to consider if you're starting a business or you have clients that are starting a business and signing long-term leases. You might want to put together short-term leases or have a negotiability clause, because I think there's going to be a larger supply, in the next few years, because we have not even touched the brink of bankruptcy. I know there's going to be a lot more bankruptcy filings coming soon. Current unemployment rates is 11 to 15%, and some people think that's high, but due to what's anticipated and what the Fed was anticipating, they were anticipating a lot more unemployment. But I got this numbers from the Fed. It said 11% on the article. It could be a little bit higher, and it really just depends on how they're counting furloughed employees and whatnot. But that's one positive news at 11% to 15%. That's not as high as what was predicted. But I do believe, like I told you in the beginning, that a lot of those jobs won't come back ever. So look out for that. The court evictions, that's one of the main things I've been talking about and having to advise our agents on, is a lot of tenants who are not paying their rent, who are not being responsive or purposely, intentionally not properly paying the rent or being resistant to showings. And the sad thing is landlords do not have any recourse or options right now. We're not able to file for our court evictions. There's a ton of backlog that there, even when the courts do open up, they are going to work on all the previous cases first that have already been filed and have been postponed. So I read that they postponed it after till past August of this year. So we don't anticipate the evictions and court to open up until September or later, because they're first going to give first opportunity to the prior cases. So we have landlords who are not getting any rent maybe for the past 3 or 4 months, and you're not going to be able to get your tenant out until 2021. That's the truth. So what are you going to do, and how are you going to keep your mortgage, paying your mortgage, when you don't have any income from your tenant? You either have to sell, you either have to go to your reserves, take a loan out, PPP. There's a lot of different options, or borrow from a friend. I'm telling you, but this is going to be a lingering issue that they may even continue to postpone court evictions even further. But these tenants are reading the news, they're reading and seeing, hey, my cousin's not paying rent, I don't need to pay rent either. Or, hey, this article says I can't get evicted, I don't want to pay my rent, I got no money. And if that's the truth, yeah, they might not have any money, intentionally or unintentionally. I'm telling you that tenants are not excused from the rent. Okay, the landlord still has the ability to pursue or make out an arrangement. If they vacate the property, you can make arrangements to forgive some of those rents or reduce your rent. I know some landlords have offered to reduce the rent if they made a payment. And you'd give them a deadline. That's an option. But I'm going to tell you that these tenants are only protected if they sent the landlord an official notice or a letter or something in writing saying that they have been affected by COVID. There is a there's a CAR form that you can produce or share with a landlord or a tenant if you're helping somebody out. And it kind of gives them a little letter, a little notice that, hey, I'm suffering from COVID, I had a family member, or I got to take care of children, I had a loss of job or loss of income. There's a lot of different excuses that they have, and that is making them eligible to be protected under the current ordinance. I do hear that there's a lot of mortgages in default. A lot of people have not been able to have the ability to pay off their mortgage debt, and they've tried to call their lender. They maybe have tried and started forbearance, and there's not too many options available, but the lenders right now are not doing any foreclosures. So there is time, but there is penalties that you're going to have to pay, interest, and they are, there's not much you can do. Debt is debt, and it stays with you unless you go file for Chapter 13 or Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And I can tell you, because those courts have not opened and foreclosures and short sales have not started to begin yet, those are things that I think we're going to see in 2021 in the near future. So I definitely want all of you to be working on and understanding how to do a short sale, how to conduct foreclosures, and learn up on it. I already heard a couple of you already taking some of those CAR classes, and it's great to get your certification for short sales or for foreclosures and REOs, because that's going to be opportunities for business in the future. So I do predict in 2021 there will be a rise in listing inventory. That's my little prediction, that foreclosures and short sales will come back like we saw in 2008 and 9. And obviously I can't 100% predict this, but because of what I see going on in the economy, I can tell you it's crazy out there, and our stimulus is only going to be able to take us so far. they can only print so much amount of money, and we can only take on $45 trillion of debt. There's not much more. I mean, what's after a trillion? A gazillion? I don't even know. But it's just like a a paper machine, and the company and the Fed is just printing money, and there are repercussions and that are happening, which is definitely making a negative impact for our children and our children's future. When with this kind of debt, we're not going to have any solutions for Medicare, for pensions, for people who file for Social Security. The money is going to run out. Okay, so I don't know what we're going to be doing in the future or what the solution is. And we're in a election year in 2020 for a new president, but there are going to be a lot of negative ripple effects by providing so much stimulus today. Any questions? I want to make this, and I talked about a lot right now, these 15 bullet points. I want to pause right now. Is there any questions? I want to raise your hand or ask it. Feel free to unmute yourself. I can't see my chat box right now, so just because I'm sharing my screen. JL, is there any questions in the chat box?
Calvin.
Yeah.
I have a question. So since you're talking about number 15 for broker, predicts a large inventory for sales, and short sale for next year. Can you design several courses regarding how to access those data and how to obtain those listings and how to, go through that transaction? Because personally, I haven't been that kind of experience for a lot of short sale forced closures for the past years. And then I'm not going to have more, buyers to interest in it, because most of my investors buyers now, they are asking me, they want to postpone to the market because they predict the short sale forced close coming very soon by then this year or maybe early next year. So I want to have my education ready, or my knowledge ready to give them some advice once they jump to me, says, hey, can you tell me something about this? So I think it's, I don't know the other agents, but I personally speaking, I really want to attend those courses. If you can set it up maybe for two weeks, or, in this situation, I also prefer if you can invite the certain lenders or from the bank, they can give us some prediction or knowledge or about that market. So maybe that helps us to boom a lot of sales in for next year or even the end of this year. I'm pretty sure I can boost a lot of sales. And then I have a lot of buyers, investors, they have cash. They don't want to go out. They says, Melissa, no, it's going to bankruptcy, forced close. I'm going to get good deal. I don't want to go out right now, especially COVID-19 going second wave. And they tell me. So now I'm going back for show the houses to my clients, but they are most primary buyers, like they buy for themselves to live. They're not investors. So I think in this situation, just my suggestion, okay? Maybe some other agents have the same request too.
I could probably tell you that half the agents in this room right now are thanking you for your question, Melissa, because it is an important and a great question, and you allowed me to even just take a pause a moment to not talk, because I've been talking for so long. But thank you. I appreciate your questions, and I'm going to answer your question and definitely go ahead and share some what I believe, and I have to preclude myself and say, I'm predicting this because I follow the economy, but I could be wrong too. How do I as an agent prepare for short sales, foreclosures, REOs? And I'm going to give you some guidance on how we're going to do that. Yes. One, you should get your certification from CAR. In the CAR website, they do have certification courses for them, for REOs, short sales, foreclosures. And when you take those classes, they not only do they teach you the procedure and the systems that you have to have in place, but they also put you in touch with how to find those opportunities. And you're talking about opportunities. Where can I build relationships and get those listings in the future? So I'm going to tell you the way you're going to do it. And I'll give you a couple of strategies, but there's a lot of different ways. One, if you want to work on the REO foreclosure market, you need to talk to asset managers. There are asset managers at every bank, every lending institution, and even for syndications or REITs or investment trusts. There are people who are having a ton of portfolios of properties, and well, they are basically making the decisions, okay? And these asset managers are going to be, hopefully, you're building a relationship with them and say, hey, asset manager at Chase, it's been great working with you. I've known you for X amount of years. I've been investing in my future. I learned so much about REOs and short sales, and I anticipate these types of properties will be coming soon from, for example, you at Chase. Who do you use as your listing agent for your inventory of what's called non-performing assets? And then you talk to the asset manager, or you talk to the lender there who can introduce you to the asset manager, because they're not sitting at the branch office all the time. You got to get introduced to somebody. And you ask them, please give me an introduction. You maybe meet them for lunch, or you talk, and you're going to have to try to build that relationship and ask them, I don't want all of your, I work hard, I'm a professional. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I will give you daily or weekly updates. I could be your listing agent for only your properties, and then give them a region. Let me work on your properties here in San Gabriel Valley or Orange County or wherever you're at. And ask them, give me a chance on one. I will prove to you that I have all the systems in place and everything will be easy for you, and I'll unload all of your assets and get you the best price for your bank. That's one avenue. And asset managers or people who hold portfolios or decision makers for investment trusts. And there are quite a bit of syndications out there right now that have inventory. Maybe they're thick builders, okay? And these developers and builders are, it's tough for a lot of builders and developers right now. I feel terrible for them. They're in a declining market. The expenses of the materials have increased tremendously for the builders because of the trade wars with China and cost of goods just increasing. And they've had what's called chain supply issues in getting certain materials for their products that they need to construct the houses. And you couple that for the builders and developers, right now, the COVID, they're not even be able to invite customers into and welcome them and do open houses. So they're suffering a lot. I have a lot of compassion towards them who took a lot of risk, and they're not going to get the expected returns that they anticipated. You asked another question regarding short sales, Melissa.
Yes.
Short sales are going to be the easier route for majority of the agents here, because you do not need to build a relationship with any asset manager or any high executive. You only have to know the seller who is in default or going to be in defaulting on the loan, behind in the mortgage.
Mm.
So if you want to advertise yourself or send out mail outs and postcards and, hey, are you having a tough time, paying off your mortgage? Are you not getting any a loan forgiveness or a response and modifying your loan? Do you need some help for consultation? Call me today. And you send them a marketing material, or you say, hey, I'm a listing agent. I have solutions for you. I can potentially negotiate cash for keys for you, and all of the debt that you incurred won't count against you negatively for a significant amount of time and affect your credit. I know how to do, and like I told you, Melissa, do the short sale certification, and you have you can send that material to everybody, saying with your designation that you're a specialist, you know how to negotiate with the bank, and you know how to do the process, which is basically being a paper pusher. You're going to help complete the application. You're going to help them get the authorization to right to convey information to the lender, and you're going to show them a market, what's called the REO they call it basically an appraisal, a BPO, broker price opinion. You need to learn how to do those. It's basically a CMA. And you can take photos for them, and you're going to tell them what kind of repairs they need to do, and you got to give them a consultation whether they need to paint the property, repair this and that, and fix the heater up front, and then the bank might pay you back in the future. So you have to be able to take that risk. So if you're willing to, you could get reimbursed. They did reimburse people in the past, and they do pay for some repairs. And they do pay you your full commissions of 5 to 6% or more. Well, I would say 6% is the highest. So the short sales is a great avenue. You don't have to need to have a great network or a great amount of people. You need to just be able to find people who are in notice of default. And that's easy to find when you talk to any of your favorite title reps. You could farm for people on notice of default in your neighborhood or your local area. And you can go to the Coldwell Banker CBX seller leads. That will give you leads to people who have significant changes in their life. People who had marriage, divorce, change in family, like they had a baby, those significant, or death in the family. Those are avenues the CBX will identify as potential leads. And you should start building some campaigns for these potential people who are notice of default. Because if they're behind in the payments today, they're still going to be behind the payments in a few months when the courts open. Okay, they're not going to be able to catch up 4 months of rent. How many people can pay 4 months of rent payments right now back? Not many people can afford it unless you're wealthy or you have great friends or you have family money.
Right.
The last thing last opportunity before I move to the next question, I'm going to talk to you about probate.
Okay.
I know Neilfar went through the probate class. And probate is a thing that I know is going to be a great avenue of certification that you can get from CAR, because there's going to be a lot of, number one, a lot of deaths due to COVID. There's going to be a lot of deaths due to baby boomers getting in that age range of high risk, a lot of health complications. And probate is the future, because when there's a problem with the title, or there's going to be issues with not filing a will or not properly recording who's the property heir going to be, you can be the specialist advising clients how to prepare for the unknown future. So probate is a way you can also get the listings. And if you want to go that avenue, you need to pony up and have a buddy who's in the probate lawyer attorney business. And there's two ways you can do that. You find probate attorneys, or you find judges in the probate court, administrators of the executives of the trust. These people who know that which properties are coming up and don't have any representation, they can introduce you to the client and potentially just get you the listing. And when you build those relationships, you can search for probate attorneys. They probably have a bunch of different agents that know them, but they might not have one that is in your area that you're an expert in. So that is your talking point, is you're the expert in Arcadia, Temple City. You're the expert in, for you seeing in Rancho Cucamonga and the East Side. So everyone has unique talents that you bring, and let them know that, and that give you one opportunity. You promise them you would deliver great results. Okay, thank you for that question, Melissa. Angel has a question for me. She asked me a couple of questions. Is this a buyer's? Do I suggest buyers to wait until next year, and do I suggest sellers to sell now? That's a great question, and I have to draw a line between giving an opinion and giving a direct consultation. So a lot of what I'm giving you as I'm talking to you is my opinion on things, because the economy and what I use that I have today, things could change tomorrow. And so when I give a consultation to a seller, that every word you say, every material, every estimate, CMA of value that you provide to your client could be used for or against you. So make sure you don't give a range instead of an exact price. Give yourself some room for flexibility. And you can also say, you know, this is my suggested asking price. This is my anticipated sales price, and give two prices. Because I think your asking price should be lower than the sales price. You should be pricing your properties below what you think is the market price. Now, do I suggest sellers to sell now? I'm going to give you a reason for and a reason against. Yes, you should sell now because the court evictions and the foreclosures, the REOs, the short sales that we just talked about, they have not hit the market yet. We have not seen any short sales or foreclosures, or maybe 1% of the listings out there are REO foreclosure short sale status. So because they have not hit the market, because the courts are not open yet, it is helping existing sellers who want to sell without that type of competition. And that's a lot of competition because REOs don't mind putting any price out there. They're going to price things way under market. They need to get it unloaded quickly, and they want a cash offer and off their books immediately. So if short sales are going out there, short sale agents want to double end these deals, but they can't double end them. They shouldn't be double ending them. But the short sale agents don't care what price it is because the seller doesn't care what outcome they get, because everything that they don't pay will be forgiven by the first and second trust deed. So short sales don't care about what the asking price is, and foreclosures don't care either. If what I predict is true next year, then today's pricing won't have that type of competition. So absolutely, I would tell sellers it's better to sell today because I fear tomorrow's or next year's rising amount of what you call this type of inventory is due to financial. So it's kind of circumstantial, and this type of inventory is hard to compete against if you want to get your full price. So you guys, does that make sense? All right.
Yes.
I hope your mind is churning right now because I'm offering a lot of value and how to talk to your clients, convincing them to sell their inventory today. If they're having investment property, I'll say that's up to you, because investment property, you know what your rents are, you know what your fixed income is going to be. So that's, to me, it's only sell your investment property if you have high tax rate or if you have a better opportunity to invest in. Okay. So hold on. What I mean by that is, if you have a better opportunity, let's say you bought something last year or 2017 peak, 2018. If I anticipate prices to fall, I might want to unload my 2018 and 19 investment property because that's going to be attached forever with a high sales price with high property tax. And I might be able to have an opportunity next year to buy something at a lower sales price and it still be an investment property, and I can probably still have the same amount of rent. So if you want to get your client invested into a property and have a lower property tax, then that potentially could be a great way if it's an income property. But if your rent is great and you're above cash flow and positive cash flow, there's no reason why not to, unless you're really having difficulties with your tenant, or if you have major deferred maintenance that's coming, like your roof or your galvanized plumbing. Okay, Melissa, you had a question?
Yes. So if you're predicting there are short sales foreclosures a lot next year,
yeah.
As these, if this happens, if my seller's asking me, hey, Melissa, I want to sell my property, but you says maybe do not sell because due to COVID-19, but if I hold it until next year and you predict there are short sales foreclosure, then that means the price in the market will affect my regular house, because I want to sell right now, maybe this year can sell, whatever over the market. But next year, since there are a lot of short sales and foreclosures, then our price, my price will be dropped maybe per certain percentage. So why should I hold? Why should I not just go to sell?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the arrows point to selling now, but there's a lot of uncertainty that we still don't have it all depends if we have a virus, a cure for COVID-19, and that could boost the market. That could boost a lot of businesses and and travel and leisure and the airline industry and all that stuff, where they can get more employment going on and the market picks up. So a lot of it is dependent upon the cure. Now, I didn't give you the reason why not to sell, but I can tell you, well, the one reason I can think of why don't, if you have a property you need to sell, but maybe you want to wait up to next year, maybe there is the factor of what's called price appreciation that I just talked to you about, bullet point number 9. And because we're printing so much money in the U.S., there might be what's called the index of the dollar is depreciated, meaning some people might be able to get an inflated price on their home if that inflation outweighs the the general CPI of the U.S. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's another argument for next year or years in the future is our weak dollar. Like I told you, your $500,000 home today, it could be worth $600,000 tomorrow if we continue to print so much money, and people have this buying power, and people are able to borrow so low at 3%. Then if the interest rates go to 2%, which is possible, then prices are going to increase. They're going to compete and bid higher and higher because I could borrow for 2% for basically essentially nothing. So they don't mind putting a higher price. So that's the argument for selling next year or in a few more years. Okay, I can argue either way, and you guys all should be able to argue that as well.
Yeah.
So I hope I answered you guys' questions. Angel, or do anybody else have any questions before I move to the next slide? Ed had one question about renters, and is there any programs to help them? Yeah, there's unemployment. Renters who are having issues with their payments. Well, they're also the state has allowed and the extension of the protection of renters not being able to be evicted yet. So those are the benefits currently, but ultimately, unemployment is the best avenue for them and whatnot. Okay, I got a lot to cover. I'm gonna move on to the next slide, and there will still be opportunities for questions later. This is one case study that I was just talking to you about quickly. Is a buyer opens escrow with their client. The buyer loves their home. They complete the due diligence. Appraisal is good to go. Lender says it should be good. Just a few conditions to satisfy, and we'll have loan docs ready. But the problem is, at the 21-day mark in your escrow, the listing agent becomes very impatient. They demand your client's buyer to remove all contingencies. They send you a notice to perform. You're the buyer's agent, and they say they got a strong backup offer higher or yours, or who's ready to go and open escrow, waiting for us to cancel. They could threaten you with all this and that. And when you talk to the lender, they're not very helpful. They're not very responsive. They say, oh, it should be coming another week. Maybe I need more to prepare loan docs. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And you never ever get a concrete answer. Can I remove loan docs or not? Can I remove loan contingency or not? And I'm going to tell you, your client is in a tough position. If you receive the notice to perform, you have to respond back within 2 days, or you risk the seller being able to cancel you unilaterally, one-way street. All right, you didn't risk move. All right, I'm going to cancel you out. I'm going to move on, and we have to call their bluff, see if they want to work with you or not, or give you an extension. I got so many types of questions in this type of form or another, and they ask me, how do I solve this? I'm going to teach you guys all a whole bunch of great strategies that you can use with your buyers today. All right, so talking about the strategies, one, call me or call your manager like Amy or someone who's experienced like your broker to help you understand what's going on. Have the situation, have the details for me available to give me the summary. When you ask me a question, tell me your question first and then give me the background. I'll help you so much better that way. I heard there's a lot of static. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh yeah, good.
Okay, so I apologize if you hear a little static. Maybe I got too loud. So one of the strategies I'm going to tell you, if you're in this situation with your client, I would one just ask you to do a partial removal of all your contingencies. We got 3 contingencies: due diligence, appraisal, and loan. Why don't you just go ahead and remove your appraisal and your due diligence, okay? And kindly build a nice relationship or an extension that the loan should be ready. Can I extend the loan? Maybe give me answer another 3-5 days, business days. Normally, if you take a step forward, that's what the agent wants to see, making progress in your transaction. If you take a step forward, they're going to push a little bit less back. So that's usually successful. The second thing you should be doing at this point is explaining the risk of losing your deposit with the buyer, because technically the buyer might really love the home. The buyer still has their job. They believe in their own lender that they selected. They trust them. They can remove their contingency without having the loan docs ready. It is possible, but you need to document and explain that there are risks, that the deposit will potentially be at risk if we do not perform and close by the deadline. Okay, but I do have buyers out there that are willing to risk it, or they know that they're going to get the approval because they're high FICO, they have high earners, or whatnot. They could be working with, for example, Cathay Bank or East West Bank, who require 60-day escrows, but they know that they're going to get their loan because they're putting 40, 50, or 60% down. So if you're working with a loan program, they're never going to give you, allow you to draw your loan docs in 21 days. Those type of banks or foreigners or private lenders, they all take a longer time. Okay, so that's a document the date and discussion. There are what's called flaws in listing agents, flaws in contracts, and flaws that could be on the seller's performance. So what I mean by that is, if the seller sends you a notice to perform to remove all contingencies, but they have not taken a step for you that's supposed to be done, you have a reasonable and eligible reason to postpone your removal of contingency. So the common item that I can talk to you about is the termite report. Some agents have not received the termite report until day 18 or 19 into the transaction. Because of this, you have yourself 5 days to review any late documentation. So that's a suggestion. If there's a missing performance item like a city inspection, like the city of Azusa, city of El Monte, city of Pasadena, I used. Because we did not receive that document to report to review, I had a reasonable excuse to extend our due diligence contingency, and I wrote removal of contingency subject to review of the termite report, or subject to the city of Azusa inspection clearance report. So for example, those are examples that you can use to buy yourself more time and to make their notice ineffective, invalid. And you write that in your arguments and get me involved. Okay? So those are strategies. Other late performance items of a seller could be, delivering something vacant, which is something that you asked for. It could be something that you build into your offers or counter offers, such as installing this or repairing something else. Okay? So to negotiate extension, maybe you could say, you know what, as listing agent, thank you for being great. I know you gave me the notice to perform. This is the issue we're having. I talked to the lender, and he needs 5 or 6 more days to provide loan docs. The issue that he's having is that he cannot contact the lender to verify employment. He cannot do this, that, or that. He has this type of condition that the appraisal was delayed because the person wasn't able to schedule immediately, and you, listing agent, you postponed the appraisal 5 days. During that time, I'm putting in the blame back at the listing agent or the seller. And you know what? Let's just go ahead. We'll do it. Can you give me a loan contingency because that appraisal was late? and I try to build that immediately in when I hear that the listing agent is the appraisal is having difficulty coming in, or any other person that comes in. So you can offer, you know what, how about this? Can I pay your seller an option to extend my loan contingency? You know, I'll pay them, you know, $300, $500, and let me remove it in 5 business days. You know, you know, some listing agents will allow that, or that's reasonable, and they'll give it to you. Okay. So a per diem is a great way to build your extensions. If you hear that you're having trouble with your lender and they're having some trouble with the loan, negotiate a per diem early on, because if you are near the end of the transaction and you haven't gotten your extension in place, you are at the mercy of whatever they want to negotiate with you. You have low, what's called leverage. And during the removal of contingency period, you have all your leverage at that time because you can still cancel with no penalty. Leverage is very important at what stage and phase you are in your transaction. So you could perhaps suggest to release a small amount of your EMD to get yourself extensions. And those are great solutions that I have used all of these in recent examples with different agents. And lastly, I just say you can always just pray, hope, and cross your fingers that you have a reasonable seller and a reasonable listing agent, but don't expect people to be as reasonable as what you think. Okay, they have their own duty to protect their seller. The sellers have their own obligations and debts and timelines. So you don't always have a reasonable seller. And I've dealt with a lot of difficult people. Okay. Okay. So I hope you're not relying on just crossing your fingers that they're going to give you the extension that you hope for. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple of strategies really quickly. If you are a buyer agent, these are things that you need to be doing. Use form coronavirus addendum or amendment when you send your offer. This is appropriate because this allows you to give yourself an escape clause or an extension for review of your contingencies or whatnot if you have any difficulties of scheduling appointments or getting the appraisal out there like I told you about, or getting a termite guy. These are negotiated if you do it during the counteroffer execution phase. This is the best time to give yourself a big excuse to cancel or delay. Okay, so read the CVA and read the Notice of Unforeseen Circumstances. NUCC is the form that you would use if you need to use the delay or use your option to extend or to cancel. This is the form that helps you. You only got to fill in a few things and check the right box and provide the right excuse appropriate to your situation, and boom, your entire deposit is secured. Okay, that's very, very important. If you're a buyer agent, know the tools at your disposal, how to use them. I talked about it right now. Draft your purchase contract with longer contingency periods if you can, and potentially give yourself escape clauses such as options to extend and or subject to seller delivering vacant tenant, seller delivering the property vacant, 8 days or 9 days prior to close of escrow. And if they haven't performed on that item, you don't have to remove your contingency, or you have a reason, a valid reason to not remove it. Let's just say that. So I love having you draft your contracts with thinking about all the potential issues that you might have, and talk to and consult with your client. Is there anything is your job secure? Do you anticipate anything? Do you have any increased debts that you're taking on right now? Blah, 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 to see if you're gonna have any red flags with the loan. I like to insert additional seller performance items when I write my offers, such as delivering something vacant, termite report, doing certain types of repairs or conditional improvements to the property, like change out this water heater or change the faucet, this and that. If you build those in, then you have more performance items that you can use as an excuse to delay your removal of contingencies if they fail to perform. Negotiate the close of escrow date with an extension in writing early on, like a close of escrow to be 30 days is what we normally write. Close of escrow to be 40 days or sooner. You know, that would help me just not have to worry about this when I'm in a very critical stage of the transaction. And you could also do this during the request for repair stage. So if you finally come to agreement on credits or repairs that are going to be accomplished, hey, agent, can you also, I talked to the lender, we're going to need another 7 business days. Can we also just build this extension right now so that I don't have to chase for it later on when the lender asks for it? If you don't have the extension in writing, the lender may give you a problem with the loan as a condition. So get your extensions early on, and that's the best time if you haven't already done it during the contract. And lastly, just basically have a working relationship with your lender, communicate early and often. Weekly is great with your, and get status updates to make sure your lender is on top of things. Because of all the refinance applications and mortgage inquiries and borrowers asking your lender, they're busy. All the lenders are not answering all their calls. So you need to get and stay on top of the lender because they got 30, 50, 100 files on their desk and you're only one of 100. Okay? I told you, I promise you I'm going to help you seller agents. So if you're a listing agent, I need you to read and review all your offers very carefully, especially if they attach the CVA form or provide these type of things that I just suggested to you. If they're very strategic, you need to be able to explain the terms and conditions and compare all the offers with your seller and provide them the pros and cons of each offer and learn how to counter out some of those tricky or awkward things and these are great strategies that I'm telling you as a buyer agent. If you're a listing agent, now you know what to look for. So you can draft a great counter offer to eliminate or reduce or counter them back on some of those what if scenarios and those per diems that you're going to build a per diem. If the buyer is delaying or you anticipate, there's no way they can close in 30 days. I know Cathay Bank takes 45 or 60 days. You can build it a per diem early on. You know, you can always reach out to your broker manager for support. Let me know if you have a counter offer that you are drafting or a multiple counter offer that you're drafting, and I'll be happy to help you with some of the language. And try to consider and think about all options out there and the potential issues and risks that are specific to this property, whether or not there's a tenant in place, whether or not you have multifamily or unpermitted areas, whether you have an appraisal issue that you might have to deal with, whether or not you have a city inspection or a heater that doesn't work. You as an agent need to know what are the potential risks and problems with the property and try to be proactive in getting solutions done so that way it doesn't happen in escrow. So get your disclosures, get your paperwork done early, and look for all the seller performance items so that way you have no reasons for a buyer to send you a seller notice to perform because you've done your job and you've sent them everything. You got the termite done early, and blah, blah, blah. You have nothing to do on your end. Now it's all on the buyer and the ball's on their court. So you could also do other things to feel the buyer's agent and ask questions. So clarify, oh, I see that you said you have certain down payment, but how come this doesn't make sense? Or how come your FICO score showed this? Or why does this loan does not match up with your offer? Blah, 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 blah. But, you know, you have the right to talk to the other buyer's agent and learn more about the various buyers and their background and obviously, just as long as it's not discrimination or anti-FHA. So ask clarifying questions. What is, you know, you can ask, where's the money, the source coming from? Is it a gift letter? Do you have a strategy? Hey, do you know this lender? Have you ever worked with them before? Who selected the lender? Stuff like that. These are great questions to find out. Do you mind if I talk to your lender and ask a couple of questions? If they really have full documentation or not, stuff like that. So the other thing you can do is reduce and shorten some of the contingency periods. You guys all know what to do. Those are great strategies to use right now. I want to talk to you and talk about the forms a little bit. The PED form, there's different PED forms. The primary one for us buyer's agent is the V, which is for visitors. And you will sign that along with your clients. And you're supposed to only have 2 parties at a time showing a property. So I'm going to talk to you quickly about that and the CVA and UCC that I just talked to you about. So you guys still see the screen share. I'm going to get into my forms really quick. And I already have in the COVID-19 CB Dynasty Agent Resource Center, which all of you have access to. Go into the section called COVID-19, and I have all these forms to talk about. This is the PED form. Can you guys see the PED form right now? Yes or no?
No, we didn't see the P form. No P form here. Did you share it?
Can you see it now?
Yeah, I can see it.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate the feedback because I can't see the chat box on my screen right now.
Yeah.
This is a PED form allowing you the rules of entry into the property. Practically 80–90% of the listings out there are requiring you to send the PED form prior to setting up your appointment. So know how to get this signed immediately. You have the ability to put the address up here, or if you are having multiple properties you're going to show, leave that blank and you can type it in for each of your addresses later on. So you can recycle this same PED form and not bother your client for every single property. Now, you acknowledge that you're going to be not, wearing your face covering, wearing gloves, washing your hands, and doing all the normal stuff that we should be doing in practicing real estate. So the safety precautions you're doing are here. So in this PED form, just go ahead and have them sign. You can have them all in there. Keep it in your records and your file. This is part of the transaction. Any questions about this PED form? Okay, so when I go to the next form, it's going to talk about the NUCC. And I talked to you about I just updated the June coronavirus forms, and the NUCC form gives various reasons. Oh, it's not in there. So the NUCC form ultimately is the form with the excuses. And when you have the form in front of you, it's just a simple form that you had a loss of job, you had a family member or someone you or someone close to you had exposed to COVID, and or you had a mutual execution to cancel the transaction. This is the form to notify what is your valid excuse. So anyway, loss of job or hours or forbearance, these are all valid excuses. I don't have I'm sorry, I don't have the form in front of me, but that is the slide, okay? The other one was the best practices guidelines and prevention plan. And this one I do have up there. The BPP is attached to your PED form. And when I put that up, the BPP form looks like this. Every real estate office, and ours is included, has to have a best practices guidelines prevention plan, and you're going to follow, all brokers and agents agree to follow to all of these requirements. Now, there's such as the PED form, and in here, there is a specific language that is very, to me, interesting, because you're going to be required to wear your face mask and everything like that. And you got to dispose of gloves, face coverings, and the listing agent has some certain duties required, which is ensuring that making sure that the property is disinfected in between showings. And that's tough because you as a listing agent, you don't know, and you're going to have to clean so many things. So the listing agent or brokerage has ultimate responsibility to ensure that the property is clean and disinfected before you're showing. And the one cool trick that I'll tell you is in your agent private instructions, you could pass this responsibility off to the buyer's agent if you want to. So you could kind of say, well, if you agree to do my showing, you are required to disinfect the property and blah, blah, blah after you leave. And you can ask them to do so as a requirement. So that's one strategy if you're a listing agent to help you with. You can read all this stuff. I'm not going to go over all of this, but this is the best practices guidelines. And it's important for you to read it through and understand what we're doing if we're going to show property. Okay, any questions on that? Unmute yourself if you don't. Otherwise, I do have a mandatory training for agents and staff, which is going to be part of this video that, when I talk about it after the next slide. But currently, you guys have been asking, can I do open house? No public open houses are allowed right now. I will let you know the day that we can get open houses, you will know in the email. But right now, everything has to be appointment only. And most agents are scheduling them about 20, 30 minutes apart in windows. And so if you have an appointment, show up on time because there's going to be someone waiting there before you or after you. A lot of times I've seen, you know, a wait light outside because of appointments conflict. Did someone ask a question? Okay, so showings are appointment only. And at this point right now, the listing agents are required to have a type of form like this. I'm going to show it to you really quickly that this, I'm sorry. I was trying to make it bigger. This needs to, there's two pictograms that need to be in front of your listing at the front entry. There's this one here that everyone agrees to this, and this rules and property instructions. It's repetitive, I know, but both of these should be printed right at the front door or the entry before they enter the home. So if you're a listing agent, just print one out. It does not have to be anything fancy. Just have it there so that you can have it in front and be in compliance. We're going to talk about a little bit about the realtor relief. So most active realtors, like I told you in my past videos, are eligible for PUA relief. And what this type of relief is different types. There's different types of stimulus that people were getting. For most people who are in the business and have income less than $100,000, the pandemic unemployment assistance program relief seemed to be the highest amount. The PUA, as we commonly know, was getting people more than $11,000 up to date in unemployment benefits through a debit card. If you got, I'm curious, can you raise your hand in the chat or in your icon if you did successfully get your PUA dollars debit card? Because many of you have followed the step-by-step guide that I shared with you right before we were able to apply on April 28th, and you guys all have your benefits now and enjoy it. But I'm telling you, the income is taxable, okay? Secondly, there are other benefits that were available to you as well. If you have not got your PUA money, but you did apply, you should, I don't know, there's a lot, they are backlogged and a lot of people are not getting responses. Some people have issues with their social security number and logging in, certifying correctly. Make sure you follow the step-by-step certification process. And I shared with you in the drive again, in this COVID same resources, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance PDF, the step-by-step instructions, how to certify. And these are great guides. And guess what? I told you I'm going to get you guys $11,000 in this meeting. If you have not applied yet, you still can apply. I think to the rest of July, you're still eligible to take advantage of the increased federal package. Most people only qualify for like $167, but because of the per week, but because of the federal stimulus, they're getting an additional 600. So they're getting about 700 something dollars per week. That's a lot of money. So if you are interested, read those guides and follow the rules. Do not label your employer CBD Investment or Coldwell Bank or Dynasty. You are self-employed. That is the instructions that they give you. And if you did write Coldwell Bank or Dynasty, that could be a reason why you did not get your benefits approved yet. All right, going back to the slides. There are also the PPP money. Oh, I did it again. The PPP money was another solution for us as realtors for relief. And I got a lot of questions on that. And I just have a new news that due to the recent release last month of the PPP easy forgiveness option, if you did the proper calculation of your Schedule C on your line 31 of your tax return, line 31 is your net taxable income. Divide that by 12, multiply that by 2.5. That is the amount of 100% forgiveness that you can get. So if you got a PPP loan like myself, you can get 100% forgiveness doing that route. And that's the easiest way to go by it. You don't have to do the 8-week and have so many expenses tracked over the course of time. The easiest way for us as sole proprietors, as realtors, is to do the easy calculation route. Okay, so if you want to read up about that, I'll share a video later on along with these materials, and you can watch a great YouTuber who shares with you the strategies. PPP money also still is eligible. There still is money if you want to apply, of course, as an independent contractor, even if you have no employees. So if you choose to go the PPP route, you are taking a small business loan to use for your expenses. And you can qualify, there still is money. I heard of people still getting PPP loans this week. So talk to your favorite bank or lender who's still doing or specializing in the SBA loan, and you can get 100% forgiveness for your line 31 of 2019 taxes, and divide that by 12, multiply it by 2.5. Okay, I'm not going to just follow those instructions and talk to your lender. One question, and I'm going to go to the next slide, is can you get unemployment and PPP at the same time? And the question is, I'm not sure, but maybe. I don't have the definite answer, but depending on the claim period of when you receive your PPP loan, I could receive my PPP loan here in June or July, and I could still collect unemployment from March and April and May when I was unemployed and the offices were closed. If you have a valid circumstance and you have a valid reason, document and share that, and proper documentation of your dates and when you received the PPP loan. And it's potentially possible you can get both benefits at, not simultaneously, but at different time frames. So the answer I'm going to also tell you is PPP loan is not taxable because it's used for expenses, because it's not income. It's supposed to be used for your wages. It's supposed to be used for expenses like your rent. And this is never income received to you, so you're not going to get any tax on that income. But the PUA unemployment, you will get taxed federally and state. The PPP loan is great to maybe eligible for both, also because it depends on the amount of what you're eligible for, but you potentially could be eligible for double dipping. Okay. But again, I'm not an accountant or CPA, so you cannot rely solely on my guidance, and I'll share it with the video and instructions of someone else who taught this to me. And my kind of quote for this week was, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him or her drink. I've shared this with you so many months ago, and I don't know, maybe half of you have taken advantage of it and the other half of you ignored it. It's up to you. I can only lead you and show you the way. It's up to you if you want to go ahead and drink that water or take advantage of those benefits. I'm happy and want to support you, and I think it's very useful that you provided these benefits. So hopefully you found this content valuable. And another way to put this is, you can still lead that horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But it's just a problem when the dehydrated horse tells you later, oh, I should have drank it. And I'm telling you, maybe, coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm still telling you now, you still can apply for PPP and PUA if you want to, and make sure the weeks that you are documenting are proper and make sense. So there's still time. Don't have the regret. If you want more information and you have special circumstances or you have issues that are circumstantial, like, oh, I have a C Corp or an S Corp. Oh, I have employees and staff. Well, call the COVID relief hotline. The number's on the bottom left. They have answered a lot of your questions and helped you and clarified some of the weird questions you have, because I'm not a consultant or a CPA. I can't consult you on your specific circumstances. But there's a lot of great materials, and just click on the COVID-19 relief and you'll find all of these updated materials on your own or within my Google Drive. So the drive is here. You can click the link on any of the staff's Team Dynasty emails, and this will get you into the vast array of tools that I have put together and I'm currently updating. If you like what I'm doing, if you like the content that I provide and the videos and the updates, please help us build our traction online. I told you it's important, and we need your likes. I need you to like our YouTube page or our Facebook page and write us a positive review on Google, because that's very important in helping the company grow, and we'll get more great colleagues to work with along with us. I want to go into new listings. I know I may not have every single listing posted on here. My apologies. I did rush on this portion of the meeting. So if you have a listing, you are welcome at this point to participate and pitch your listings. I'll go ahead and log in to the MLS and share your property photos and details. Okay, so I'll do that after these slides. And you can also share your coming soons, price reductions, and needs and wants. So agents, this is the time for us to collaborate and see each other and say hi. And let me know if you have any listings. Henry, you got a listing over here at 515 Fairview for lease. Henry, I know you were on the call. Are you still here? If not, we'll go ahead and don't forget, if you need to pitch and talk, you have to unmute yourself.
Hello, hi.
Hey, talk to us about your lease, Henry.
Yeah. A Fairview. 515 for lease. For lease, right?
$17.50 per month. Yeah.
Yeah. The new on the market. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Go to the next slide.
2 bedroom, 1 bath.
Yep. Tawny Key has Neil Armstrong in Montebello. This is, are you here? It's $280,000 for Neil Armstrong up in the hills. And don't forget, learn how to unmute yourself if you're here, Tawny. 733 square feet, nice 1 bedroom, 1 bath. Hey, where can you get yourself your own units? This is great for single or young professionals, and they can have their own place to live in Montebello. I used to live about 3 minutes away from here. It's not a bad area. You're up in the hills, and you have Costco within a block away. So it's pretty cool. Neil Armstrong there. Next slide is Henry Liu. You want to talk about your First Avenue listing here in Arcadia?
Yeah. Yeah, this new in the First Avenue, 1305. Yeah, right now it's have tenant inside, tenant. Yeah, but the maybe negotiable the price can lower, no problem.
Awesome. That's a good thing about working cooperatively and having the same family and network is we can talk and be real with each other. The price is negotiable. If you got someone looking for this type of beautiful home on First Avenue, I used to play basketball right next door at Dana Gym. So I've been in this property multiple times, and it's it's a great looking home. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
Margaret has
the remodeling is very great. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the remodeling is great. It has a movie room, a projection room, and the interior materials is excellent. And it's a huge 21,000 lot. Price is negotiable. Margaret, are you here? Do you have a talk to us about Military Avenue in Los Angeles? Your new listing for 2.4 mil. Amy, is Margaret on the line? If not, you got the information in front of you?
She's not in the line. I don't
Okay.
know either.
This is a prime West LA property right by the 10 freeway and the 405 near the airport in LA. So this is a custom built home. It's modern. It's built in 2018. Just is new on the market 2 days. 5 bedrooms, 4.5 bath, 3,000 square feet. And that's a bargain. Only 805 square feet for a newer construction building. Many properties here in West LA are selling for more than 1,000 per square foot. So hey, you can get a newer construction building at a bargain. So check it out. Talk to her if you have a client for that. It's equipped for your Tesla or electric vehicle. And moving on, Henry has another listing here on Mayflower Avenue, Arcadia. This is right north of Longdon Avenue. And this is borderline Arcadia School District. 899,000.
This is new on the market and the big land. Big land.
Yeah, 10,800 lots.
Yeah, really big.
Okay. This is probably built more for land value because it's a small 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but for only
Both really
$899.
inside really cute. The house is really cute.
Great. Is this Arcadia Schools?
Arcadia School.
Okay, you need to write that in your description, Henry.
Oh, okay.
That is very important because if you're 1 block down on Mayflower, that is now becomes El Monte or Monrovia Schools. You're one block in that bubble.
And before, okay.
So, Esther, are you here? If not, I'll picture her new listing. She's been on fire lately. Esther has closed 6 transactions in the past 3 months. So I love what Esther's doing. She's got 1056 220th Street in Torrance. This is a rehab remodel, and talk to her if you have a client for someone in Torrance. All of her fix and flips are beautifully done and with nice, great materials, no issues with the quality of construction. Talk to Esther if you have any questions.
Kevin.
Yep.
Kevin, go back to the slide. Okay, her license is not correct. It's my license.
Okay, that could be a quick clerical error. I promise you MLS is right. We were putting together these slides quickly, and she might have just used yours. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I will have it revised, I promise
Okay, all right.
you. David Tam, he's got 3020 Consul Ave, El Monte. I love this property because the price of this is super amazing. It's a 4-unit, fully occupied income property. I took my client there 2 days ago. I saw it myself. Corner lot. David Tam, you want to pitch it or you want me to pitch it? Anyway, 4 units, fully occupied. Gross rents are all great. It's positive cash flow from the get-go. And I think they're all ranging from 1,900, 1,400, 1,600, and a 1,200. And the price for this is only $899 for 4 units.
How much?
Where can you get 4 units for $899 here in El Monte?
$899?
Yes. Sell it. He already has an offer on day 1. But if you got a client for this, any investors, this is perfect. I try to bring my investor in on.
Okay. What is the CMS numbers?
It's in the MLS. Just type in income property 3020 Consul. You'll find it under David Tam's listing.
Okay.
Brand new on the market 2 days.
Okay.
David Chin, I know you're here. David, you want to talk to us about Holly Avenue? I've seen your property. These are beautifully built townhomes, prime area of Arcadia. David, are you still here?
Townhome.
David was on the call, maybe this, because I know this meeting is going long. David has these 9 units for sale. Actually, it's going to be 8 or 7 because I think already there is 2 already reserved. One of them is fully detached. These brand new built townhouses is right by the Arcadia Mall, Santa Anita Racetrack. They're large at 1,750 square feet, and there's many of these units to sell. So David, these are custom built. Definitely have a lot of great materials and custom things inside. And he has a bunch of, to get familiar with this product, he has 7 of them to sell. So we like this new construction. Gina Huang, she's got 288 2nd Avenue, Arcadia. Where can you buy a fully detached townhouse built in 2002 under 450 per square foot? You can buy it with this listing here in Arcadia with Arcadia Schools. Gina, you want to take your listing? So Gina has this property for sale, and she was on the call, but it has and is price negotiable. It's under 450 per square foot, and has very great high vaulted ceiling, great condition inside. It's moved in, and to me, it's very spacious. It's under $1 million. Okay. Next slide for lease is Christy Lay. She was here on the call. Christy, are you still here? She has a lease in Pasadena on 522 Woodward Boulevard. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,856 square feet, 4,500 for a 17,000 lot size with a pool. Beautiful home, great area. Talk to her if you have a client. We also have Melissa. You want to talk about your 3rd Street, number 219 lease, Melissa?
Yes. Okay, so this one is my repeated customer because location is really easy to be leased out. Currently is tenants moving out by 13th of this month, and I'm not showing until the tenants move out, but you can make an appointment with me after 13. I'm ready to show. There is no furniture. I think the tenants only to pay gas and electricity and internet. Very, very close location to Main Street. You know this one, this area, everyone knows it. Actually, the owner looking for, couple and with 1 family members because only 1 room, 2 baths, so not that big. So if you have any qualified tenants, please send me email and the schedule showing with me. Okay. There are no lockbox because it's so hard to put a lockbox there. It can be stolen easily or lost, so I'm not gonna put there. So if you want to show, just email me. I'm just 5 minutes away from this property, or 10 minutes away from So just let me know.
I see your typo on 3rd Street on your description. Go ahead and fix that when you have a chance.
Oh yeah.
Awesome listing for lease. This should still go quickly because it's in a prime area of downtown Alhambra. And moving on to the next slide, Fleming has a lease on 9721 Emperor Ave, Arcadia, 2950 for Temple City, or is Arcadia Schools or Temple City? I think it's Temple City Schools. So to talk to him if you have a client for that. Anis, if you're still here on the call, we have Danes Drive, Temple City for lease, 1,900 per month. Arcadia Schools, so you can get a 2-bedroom for that. Did anyone have, did we miss your listing, or do you want me to pitch your listing? Please let me know and raise your hand or go ahead and unmute yourself. I'll pull up the MLS. Anybody want to pitch the listing?
I want to pitch a couple of listings.
Sure.
These are not on the MLS, but
Okay.
this is 13027 Rancho Bernardo Street, Hesperia. 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 350,000, 2,700 square feet covered area. And the second one is 12857 Bahama Court, Rancho Cucamonga, Atlanta School District,
That
4-bedroom, 4-bath, and it's approximately 3,500 square feet. The lot is 9,100 square feet. Atlanta School District.
I'm happy to hear you got some listings coming soon. Talk to seeing if you have them. I've seen Bahama Court. It's
Yeah.
a very nice property. And,
And the
everything
Bahama
will-
Court is already rented for 3,500. And if they want to keep the tenant, they can keep the tenant. Both the tenants are month-to-month lease.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
can I pitch mine?
Yeah, go ahead, Melissa.
Okay, so this is Earth Market, a shopping center in Montreal Park. I put some of the flyers in our broker office. You can
I
grab
saw
it.
them.
Yes, it's currently is asking for 30 million, and there is 30 units. They already run it out, everything. I think 100%, and then the cap rate is close to 5%. Okay, so net income is 1.5 million. And also the good news is this property is in the Garvey, actually the commercial center, right? Garvey and Atlantic Corner. So the Garvey already been approved by the City of Montreal Park in March for mixed use zoning. So if you're a developer or your client want to purchase for redeveloping, no need to apply for the zoning change. So
Okay.
this is very good news, okay? So
This property is, I'm sure if you live here in San Gabriel Valley and whatnot, you've been into this property. It's in the corner of Atlantic and Garvey. It's
yes,
that pink building that you see with, I forgot the Ocean Seafood Restaurant, and there was a,
Tanggong right now. It's a Tanggong.
okay, they changed there, but then anyway,
Yeah, they
very
took them out.
famous and an old building, but it could be redeveloped, and
Right.
the value will increase in the future because they are going to be developing across the street with multifamily.
Right.
So there's going to be multifamily going on, and
Sure.
at maybe in the 3 to 4 years. So that value of that property will increase. It's a bargain. So if you have clients for $30 million, talk to Melissa. She'll put you together with a nice investment opportunity.
Yes. Also, the good news is, you know, the owner is happy to take Chinese money. You know, most of the buyer will be Chinese, Asian people. So if they couldn't wire the money to the United States, owner can help accept the RMB, then transfer to US dollar to escrow.
I love how you're thinking forward, and if it's a Chinese buyer, you can accept renminbi.
Right.
Okay, we'll figure it out and talk about it, but that's awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else have a listing or a potential or coming soon or listing that you want me to share? I'm in the MLS.
Okay,
If
I'm
not-
sorry. I'm sorry. This is not in any market because the owner doesn't want to really put the official because he knows the qualified buyer is not that many. So he just wants to go to Earth Market. If you need information, please ask me. I have YouTube. I have Youku. I did a video. You can send overseas buyers. They can, and then it's both in Chinese, English. The video. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna screen share again. All right, so going back to our PowerPoint, we're gonna finish this off strong. Thank you for being with me for 2 hours. I know it's been long. If you have issues with your CB Exchange, just go ahead and call them, or you need help logging in. That's for your records, just really quickly. So I'm preparing for the reopening requirements and talking to you about quickly the company prevention plan. This is what we're going to be doing together. I need all of your support and respect for another to basically have protocols in place to respect social distancing and making sure that we're all together in a safe environment. That is first and foremost. Your health and safety is is important to me and significant. And so far, knock on wood, we have no COVID cases that I've heard of in our offices. Okay, so our prevention plan is right here. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Can you guys see it? Or no?
Yes.
Can you see this prevention plan on the screen?
Prevention plan. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can see it. We can see the screen.
Okay. You guys read this with the two logos on the front?
Yes.
This prevention plan will be emailed to all agents. I need everyone to read it. I'm not going to go over everything, but we need to have these policies in place. Amy is the primary contact for Arcadia, and I will be the contact here in Temple City. If you have any issues or problems with people who are not respecting the guidance that we are asking every agent, then you please report to us, and we need to have and get it resolved. I have sectioned off several areas defined as work areas for Arcadia and Temple City. Essentially, it's the cubicle area, the workstation area, your receptionist and front entry, and the kitchenette area, copy fax area, blah, 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 blah. These are important because in these areas that are considered public work areas, all staff and agents are required to wear your face masks. No questions, no excuses. It's absolutely a requirement, and we all must be wearing the mask in those areas. That makes sense? Can I get everyone to say yes, please, and nod your head? Okay.
Yeah.
If you're in your private office, it's optional because I'm excluding private rooms. So if, for example, I work in my room, I can go ahead and exclude that as a work area, and all private rooms is, for my purposes as a broker, is excluded. The Dynasty, Arcadia, and Temple City have performed a risk assessment last week, and Exhibit A I'll show to you is our prevention plan that we are putting in place. And I'm going to review this next month as well to reevaluate whether or not I need to make further prevention measures. I am continuing and recording and saving and encouraging our Zoom sales meeting and Zoom trainings every Tuesday and Wednesday. And so this training is serving as my what's called explanation of the protection plan. And Exhibit B will include all the topics that all agents must read and comply with and respect one another. Okay? Now, the company has put together some showing requirements, industry guidance, showing rules, and real estate transactions safer at home. You guys have all seen this inside the drive, but if you click the link, these are the standard showing rules. I already explained to you these at the beginning of the meeting. And you can go to the industry guidance's frequently asked questions, and that's in the car. So you're gonna have to log into your car. And these are the requirements about how to show property, how to comply, and just go through and read these all. It's very, very, no open houses. We cannot do that, you know, blah, 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 blah. So I want you to understand that. And lastly, we have real estate transactions in a safer at home environment. That's also in the drive. Now, the company also has individual measures that we are allowed and authorized for our staff to exercise. And we may, from time to time, or ask if you have any symptoms or you want to ask for your temperature screening, we can do so when you enter the building, and to ensure that you're not running a fever, or if you see that if you're sick or not, we can ask you to appropriately take action or perhaps not enter the building. If you please don't put others at risk. If you have sickness or you've been exposed to COVID-19 at home or a family member, I really strongly ask you do not come to affect others and put others at risk. I can handle these Zoom meetings. I can help you over online through video. I'm gonna be doing my best to accommodate if you're having any complications. Wear your equipment, face shield coverings, and gloves when necessary, and touching things. For example, if you want to go use the copy machine, go ahead or the phone, put your gloves on first. It'll help you stay sanitized. So there are disposable gloves and hand wash, sanitizer, soap, and various items available at the office by request. So I have these available, and I am also even offering every single agent a free mask if you want to come pick it up. So that's how much we care about you. Face coverings are strongly recommended and required, and we're all going to take the necessary reasonable measures to prevent the spread of COVID within ourselves, in our office places, and with our clients and in the public and in our listings. So you got to do some cleaning and disinfecting as well in Exhibit C. And let us know if you have any issues or problems. Stay 6 feet social distancing apart. And I will be making certain modifications to the company. For example, can you guys see here the Arcadia and Temple City description? Over here, Arcadia office, we're removing some chairs to make sure that some workstations are going to be more than 6 feet of space between each other. And we are removing the chairs in the conference room, and we're encouraging online webinars. In Temple City, we're going to be moving some chairs out from the conference rooms as well. Front floor agents who are working on the floor are going to be asked to sit at a different desk at your choice, because I'm only going to have my receptionist at the front counter because I need 6 feet away. If police comes in and they see people within 6 feet, the police are authorized to give fines of the $1,000 or more to violators who are not within respecting social distancing. Our prevention plan, this is for every agent in our office, and we need to understand that we're going to be preventing the spread, we're going to be helping flatten the curve, and frequently disinfecting and washing our hands and providing the required protective measures available for you. So just go ahead and read that through when we send it out. And the Exhibit C is a protocol, so we're going to do a reasonable amount of disinfecting. I know JL's been doing it every day for me here in Temple City, and the commonly touched items like handrails, stairways, doorknobs, bathrooms, all the different areas, the phones and equipment like the keyboards and mouse. We need to do our best to disinfect. Avoid sharing personal equipment like PPE, like don't let others use your cell phone or your iPad. And ultimately, if you can, please be socially responsible and wipe down and be courteous the equipment that you use. If you do not use the glove, then consider the next person using it, and I hope you can disinfect for their safety too. Karma happens and karma is real. If you do good things to others, good things will happen to you. We will have the sanitizer right at the front entry and all the wipes and gloves, so if you need anything, just let us know. Our staff is already trained on proper procedures, and our public hours are going to be reduced for Arcadia, I think till 3 p.m. And I think in Dynasty, Temple City, I think we're going to be open till 5 p.m. But you agents are still welcome to stay longer or at your own discretion in evenings and night using your own key. I'm just telling you the staff will be there for certain reduced hours for the month of July and August. And ultimately, we just changed out our air filters and did a HVAC tune-up at the office, so it's cleaned out. And I just wanted to make sure, because I wanted to have really good filters for you guys and make sure that we're not spreading COVID. So that is our protection plan in place for you to also read, and mandatory. If you want to come into the building, you agree to all of the terms and conditions. Any questions on this?
No.
If not, the last slide I need to cover with you before, and I thank you so much, is the mandatory office training. And this is from CAR Legal, and it's going to be just 2 minutes. The COVID-19, the best way is to being exposed is to obviously stay at home, but if you can stay away from person-to-person contact within 6 feet, avoid people who are coughing and sneezing or talking with their droplets that could spread through their voice. And many people who have COVID-19 or do not show symptoms. So you need to understand that anyone can have COVID, even if they're fit, healthy, 19, 18-year-old, prime of their life, they still have COVID-19. We have NBA, NFL players who are super healthy and have the best healthcare and the best trainers, even they are getting COVID-19. Some are more risk to others. There are some things that may be traits to certain nationalities, but to avoid exposure, the people who are age 65 and older are at high risk. For people who have already pre-existing conditions or compromised immunity, people with asthma, HIV, liver, heart, or lung disease, people with diabetes, or those with severe obesity. There's a lot of Americans who are obese. These are all high-risk people with individuals. Stay cautious and aware. Wash your hands with hot water or warm water for at least 20 seconds and be very thorough using a hand sanitizer of 60 or 70%, a specific alcohol. And if you've been in public or you went to the market or Costco or you blew on your nose and you coughed or sneezed, go ahead and just wash your hands again immediately, okay? Avoid touching contact with your eyes, nose, mouth. We all know this with your unwashed hands. So if you're gonna touch your face, wash your hands first. 6 feet social distancing is required inside and outside the office. Do not gather in groups. Avoid shared work areas when you can. Bring in your own laptop if you want to. I encourage it. Cover your mouth and nose when you sneeze, and dispose of your used tissues and whatnot. Every time you enter the building, wash your hands. Thank you. Business meetings and travel. If you can, don't do any non-essential travel or avoid airports or public transportation. You have the options to telework from home when possible. And please use video or telephone meetings if you can, because that allows you to stay 6 feet away. Your face coverings, and we're providing you a cloth face Dynasty face covering as well. So use them in public at all times. You can get a ticket for it. Wash your hands before putting your face covering on. Don't touch your face or wash your hands after touching your face. Cover both your nose and your mouth. Make sure it stays covered because sometimes your face covering will fall. Protect others as well as yourself by using these equipment. I even have some face masks, face guards that are available if you want them for free at the office. Face coverings do not replace physical distancing, so you still need to do both measures to take care of yourself for safety, and dispose your materials, especially your face masks. They are disposable after each use. Prior to home, take your temperature and see if your family members and screen them often. We, as an employer, may ask you for a temperature screening when you come in. And it's better than that, why don't you self-screen yourself before coming to work? When you're sick, stay at home. If you have any fever, chills, cough, difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headaches, new loss of taste, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea, or diarrhea. Basically, these are the common symptoms of COVID. So if you have these, please, please, please do not come to the office or expose others. Go seek medical attention if you have these severe symptoms and get a COVID test. You can go in and schedule with your health provider. There's still free tests with your participating county, and get yourself checked out so that you do not get others exposed. That's so important if you have symptoms. Leave your benefits. If you have a Family First Coronavirus Response Act, that they do have paid sick leave for certain staff or employees if you have COVID or work comp. So if you have any COVID-19 issues, contact myself or Amy if you have any questions. And these are the rules for showing property. We all covered this already when we covered the best practices for showings. Just go ahead and read up on that. And additional resources are here available from CDC, Center for Disease Control. The CAR has a ton of materials all available on the website. And the DRE, I pulled some materials as well. So I put together the broker prevention plan and from collectively all these resources. And I hope you have and understand that what I'm doing now, I know it's kind of repetitive, but it is important for everyone's safety. So thank you for staying along with me up to this point.